Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and the Bundesliga season is all about to end. Just 5 games are remaining for the season to end, and we sort of have the eventual champions. It looks like Bayern Munich are going to retain the Bundesliga title. The relegation fight is still heating up, but the main focus right now is in the race for those Champions League places, for the race of Europe. It feels like we know the teams who are going to finish third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, but we don't know in which order they are going to finish. So for the race for the Champions League, it's really heating up with just 5 games to go. Just 5 points separate the 4 teams: the Stuttgart, Leipzig, Leverkusen, and Hoffenheim. All 4 of them are fighting for the last 2 Champions League spots. And in this video, I'm going to look at the games that all of them have remaining, and we're going to assess who has the better fixtures going into the last 5 games, and who has a better chance to finish in the Champions League places. So let's get started. We're going to start with Stuttgart, who are currently at third. This weekend, I think they have the toughest fixture, and I think, in my opinion, there's only one tough game for them, and that is the one they are going to play this weekend, and it's away to Bayern Munich Allianz Arena. I think it's going to be a very tough game, and the way that Bayern Munich are playing, I personally think Stuttgart might not win. But after that, they have comparatively easy fixtures. They have Bremen at home. They are not really doing that good, and then 2 games against against teams who are themselves fighting for those Champions League places. Away at Hoffenheim, at home to Leverkusen. I think those 2 are going to be very interesting games. I have put them in the yellow marker because I think these games can go either way. And Frankfurt away, even though Frankfurt are in a good run of form, but I still think the way Stuttgart are playing, I would still consider Stuttgart as favorite. So if you look at the games, I think they have a sort of mixed bag of fixtures. I think they have one tough game, as I said, Bayern Munich, but I think the next 4 games after the Bayern game, I think they would really fancy themselves to get something good out of it. Moving on number 4, it's Frankfurt, and if I'm being very honest, I think Leipzig, and I think in my opinion, I think Leipzig have the easiest fixtures of the 4 teams. They don't have any big team that they have to play. They are not playing Dortmund. They are not playing Bayern Munich as well, and even the teams around them, the 4 teams fighting to qualify for the Champions League, they're out of those teams. They are also still playing only one of them. So in relatively to the other 3 teams, I think Leipzig have very easy fixtures. They start with this weekend Frankfurt away. I think it's going to be not an easy game, but I still think Leipzig, with the way they are playing, I think they are going to get a win here. They have Union Berlin at home. It's not being an easy run of form for Union Berlin. They have sacked their manager as well. So Leipzig have an easy fixture there as well. Away to Leverkusen, that's the only tough fixture, because Leverkusen themselves are fighting to get into those Champions League places. So that is the only a fixture that can go either way for Leipzig. And then St. Pauli at home. By this time, St. Pauli could either could really be relegated by this time. So Leipzig are gonna have quite an easy game, in my opinion. And away to Freiburg, and again Freiburg are not really gonna be playing for anything at the moment. So I think Leipzig, if I'm being very honest, they have the easiest fixture, and I personally think Leipzig are gonna be one of the team, in my opinion, that are going to qualify for the Champions League, because if you look at their fixtures, it's not that hard. Then you have Leverkusen at 5th, and just like Leipzig, Leverkusen don't have any games against the so-called top 2, and their fixtures are quite easy as well. But I still think Leipzig have the better fixtures. They start with Augsburg at home over the weekend. They go away to Köln. I think those 2 games they should be winning, if I'm being very honest with you. I think their performances have been quite up and down, but I think against these 2 teams, if Leverkusen don't win these 2 games, I think their chances of finishing in the top 4 are gonna be quite hard. Away to Leipzig, I think that's a potential game where they can help themselves. And home to Stuttgart, so they have 2 games against the 2 teams who are above them. They are gonna play Leipzig, and they are going to play Stuttgart, who are both currently above them. It's just a 2-point difference between them currently, so there's a big chance that Leverkusen can defeat both of them and take advantage of them, and or cross them into the 3rd position. So I think those 2 games for Leverkusen, they are huge. And then they finish the season at home to Hamburg, and I think I still think by that time you're still not gonna know who's gonna finish in the top 4. So I think that is gonna be a huge advantage for Leverkusen to have that Hamburg game at the final day of the season, especially being at the home side. I think they can take a real advantage of that. And finally, the surprise package this season, Hoffenheim, and I think they would be really disappointed with themselves, because the last month or so, a couple of months, have not been really good. They were looking really good. At one point it felt like the Hoffenheim are going to comfortably finish in the top 4, maybe in the top 3, with the way that they were playing, and they're, it felt like they were going to be in the Champions League next season. But their form has dipped quite a lot. And if you look at their fixtures, they're starting this weekend against Dortmund at home. I think that's going to be a tough game. Dortmund know that the title race is basically done and dusted. They drew this weekend, and that has basically gifted Bayern Munich the title. But I still think Dortmund are gonna give it all there. I think, and that is why I think Hoffenheim might drop points here. They are going away to Hamburg. I think that's a game that they should be winning. Stuttgart at home, that could be an interesting game. They are the home side as well, and Hoffenheim, I still think they are going to still be in contention for those Champions League places when this game rolls around. So you can get quite an interesting game. And then they have Werder Bremen at home, and they have Mönchengladbach at away, and both of these teams are still struggling. They are in that relegation scrap. They are not still safe, and by the time these games come, either they could be relegated. I personally think Mönchengladbach are going to be safe, so I don't think they are going to be playing for that much this season. But for Hoffenheim, they might be really playing for a game, for a spot in the Champions League. So I think that's an easy game. So I still think their fixtures are not that friendly. I mean, they have that Dortmund game, and they are playing Stuttgart as well. So I still think there is a bit of a up and down fixtures for them. If I'm being very honest with you, if you look at all the fixtures and the way that the forms are going, I think I would be really surprised if Leipzig don't make the Champions League places. I think they have the easiest fixture, and I think they have a good run of form at the moment as well. So I personally think they are going to finish in that top 4. And then the fourth spot is a bit tricky, to be very honest with you, because Leverkusen have the easiest fixture out of the other 3, but Leverkusen's form is not that good. And Stuttgart, I think those 2 games against Hoffenheim and Leverkusen, I think that Stuttgart-Leverkusen game, I think is going to be the main game that basically, in my opinion, decides who finishes fourth. If I'm being very honest with you, I think that is going to be a massive game. Hoffenheim, they have a tough game against Dortmund. Now, they have 3 easy games, but I still, I personally feel, because of the way their form has dipped and they have not really recovered from that, I really think, their dream of finishing in the top 4 and qualifying for the Champions League, I think it is gonna derail this year. I don't think they might be able to achieve it. They might finish in European places, which I think they are going to do. They might be in Europa League or Conference League, but I personally think for the Champions League, I think they have fallen far behind. It's a 5-point difference. It might not look that big at the moment, and things can change quite quickly. I mean, Stuttgart can lose over the weekend and Hoffenheim can win, and at that 5-point difference becomes just a 2-point difference. So the results can go either way for any of these teams. But if I were a betting man, I would say Leipzig qualify quite convincingly, and then that game, that Leverkusen Stuttgart game, I think might decide the last team for the Champions League. And I really don't think, unfortunately for Hoffenheim, I don't think they are going to qualify for the Champions League. These are my predictions. These are my views. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you think has the easiest fixtures, and who you think has a better chance of qualifying for the Champions League? Let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers before the end of the season. About 50 subscribers remaining, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.